Yep, great. We are back with the public investment plan process, and we have the Nashville Construction Readiness Partnership here with us, and Paul is going to kick us off in a minute, but what I want to do first of all is just say thank you. I know a lot of work has gone into preparing this PIP with a lot of different people. I do want you to know that if this particular PIP is not successful this time, it doesn't mean that it's not a great idea. It may mean that it needs to be fleshed out more, that it needs to be funded in year 2 or year 3, so I want to just let you know that ahead of time. I also want to give a shout out to a couple of council members who we have with us. We have Councilman Bill Pridemore. He is in charge of the Metro Council budget process. We also have Council Member Mina Johnson, and we have Council Member Russ Pulley. They're also here, and we thank them for being here. So, Paul, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can start, and you've got 7 minutes, and then we have 7 minutes to ask you questions.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks. I'm Paul Haynes. I'm the Executive Director of the Nashville Career Advancement Center, and with me today are Betty Johnson with Goodwill Industries, who is leading the Nashville Workforce Network. To my right is Ashford Hughes with the Mayor's Office, who's with Workforce Development, that has worked on some of the parts of the PIP we'll talk about in a minute. And then to my far right is Donzale Powell. She's on my staff, and she has been staffing the Nashville Workforce Network part of the time as we've tried to move it forward. So with that, I want to start by posing basically 2 questions to the panel, not a quiz show, but 2 questions. One is, what does 3.6 and 13,000 have in common? Second question is, what does 19.9 and 129,000 have in common? Not sure we're looking for the answer necessarily. 3.6% is the unemployment rate for Davidson County for January. That includes a little over 13,000 people who are actively seeking work. 19.9 is 19.9%, which is the poverty rate for Davidson County 2015, which includes 129,000 people. So if you take the 2 things collectively, you have 129,000 residents of Davidson County living with an income of less than $11,700 a year, and a large portion of those are the 13,000 that are unemployed. What we strive to do through our plan, or through our proposal, is to help citizens do 3 things. We want them to connect, we want them to engage, and we want them to participate in the prosperity that Nashville's having. One of the slides that we have is the background slide, which is that slide that shows the greatest sign of our prosperity, which is, if you will click one of them, the next one I think, go ahead and click, is a picture of the cranes here in Nashville. Cranes are a great sign of prosperity, but a lot of the citizens in Davidson County are not necessarily being able to participate in that prosperity. The genesis of our partnership came from Amendment 3, but one of the things that the mayor was able to do as you started this process was not just Amendment 3, but how do we build a partnership? How do we look through and figure out how we connect employers who are needing people with people who are needing jobs in this process? So with ours, we talked about in here, this is partnership, it doesn't say program. We're not trying to create or start a program. That would denote that we need an ongoing funding over and over to expand the program and so on. We're looking at it as a partnership with engagement of employers. We're looking at trying to leverage the financial resources, the technology resources, and the human capital that we already have. The 2 big groups that we work with to do that through the community would be the Nashville Workforce Network, which the previous slide showed all of the partners. It's over 100 different community agencies that include nonprofits, educational organizations, religious organizations that are in every district in every corner of this county. The intent is, how do we help connect? Our project basically comes down to 3 fundamental things. First, job matching. We want to help employers be able to connect with those individuals with the skills and abilities that they're looking for. To do that, utilizing the state's Job for TN system, which is an existing system that has been out there. There's no additional cost. We have been using it. Some employers, as we met, Ashford was with us when we met with ABC employers, some are already using it. We wanted to be very straightforward in making this this a priority of getting construction employers listed into the system. The individual side, individuals can basically use it similar to Amazon and just go in and shop like you would if you were looking for any job, what jobs are available. One of the difficulties or problems with that is it doesn't give us the ability to have the employer match with the individual, because the employer's job is in there, but the individual is just looking one-sided. What we need is individuals to set up what we call profiles or resumes in the system. These are their knowledge, skills, and abilities that they bring to the table, so the employer can look and see what skills they have and are able to contact them via email. And working with the state, we're able to actually do mass calling if we need to, if there's going to be a major event where we need to get a lot of people who've demonstrated that interest. To do that, we need two things. We obviously need, for the job match, we need the employers, and we need the community engagement, the community involvement. So of our three pieces, those are the first two: job matching, community engagement. The third one is job skills training. We've got a lot of people in Davidson County who have the skills and ability to move directly into an apprenticeship or a hard skills training program. And for those, we support them. We'll continue to work with them. But we have a whole population that don't have any pre-employment skills training, or sometimes known as pre-apprenticeship training or job readiness training in the construction industry. A lot of the models focus specifically on a particular industry. So it's pre-employment, it's job readiness for that particular industry. What we're proposing in this is to use some resources to create that job training throughout the community. Basically trying to run at least 2 training programs a quarter with 20 to 25 people in each training program. If we identify through this process that there's some hard skills training that is lacking, then we would obviously come back and see if there's a way we can reprogram some of the money to go and provide the hard skills training program. So to finish up, and I'm not looking at the clock, but to finish up, we're asking for 2 full-time equivalent people that would be to engage employers, and then engage with community agencies to make sure we're all rowing in the same direction, that we're all aligned. The remainder of the money would go for the job training program. So we're asking for a total of $474,000 for the entire project. Of that, $270,000 goes directly to the training to a participant, either in the form of providing the training or in the form of stipends or some other resource to the participant. Roughly $150,000, $160,000 of it goes to the staffing. The idea is to leverage, there will be a lot more staff than the 2 that will be working on it, but those are staff that are already in this arena, already in this environment, working on it, so there's no added cost to help align. So with that, I will conclude and answer any questions.
So I've got a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't actually talk about the procurement component of this. Is that because that's off the table?
The procurement component at this time, because Amendment 3 was overridden, is off the table from the standpoint of necessarily a funding mechanism. It's still on the table for encouraging employers who are working on metro projects or incentives to connect with the network, so that we will then have their job orders, job listings, and we can track some of that information.
And you're going to do that anyway, and there's no budget or conversation request? So.
Absent the software purchase, there is no way we can collect that minutia.
Okay. Training classes, $270,000. I thought that the whole point of identifying the partners in the community, like Goodwill, who does pre-employment training exactly like what you just talked about, why would we create something new when they have it?
Capacity. If we've got capacity to Goodwill, obviously we would not go out and create more training programs, but Goodwill's got the NCER program. Some of the industries have a similar program. What we're trying to create is something that is driven specifically by employers, with them at the table. So it may not be the program exactly that they're doing. What we want is that start to finish, employers being engaged on the front end, saying these are the 5 things that we need. We need OSHA training or safety training. We need blueprint reading. We need this. We need that. Some of which is in the curriculum that Goodwill provides, and some is not.
Why wouldn't we want to just work with them to get what's needed in the curriculum, and then to move on to, because I think think you were projecting you would train 400 people a year through that process, 2 classes of 25 per quarter, so...
20 to 20, it's 160 people a year
160,
plus,
I'm sorry, 160 people a year.
depending on how many people we get in the class. Quite frankly, Mary,
I mean, again, I'm just trying to think of ways to make this happen that might be less expensive.
And we are ready and able to do that, but might you also want to do that concurrently in South Nashville, in the Antioch area?
I don't know.
Or might you want to do it in the Bellevue area? So we're doing it in downtown area.
Right.
But there may be other portions of the county that may also be able to house it, and if we can have this money to staff it, am I right?
yeah, I mean, it gives us flexibility that we don't have, and I'm not convinced. When we look at the NCCER curriculum, it's a great curriculum, but when we did the research and looked at the numbers of people who are going through it, the numbers aren't there. There's just not enough people getting into it. At this juncture, I don't know why they're not going to, even the Tennessee College of Applied Technology, when we looked at their number of graduates, 9. There's just not enough. So we're trying to build it from the employer's standpoint and then build capacity. I think, yes, there are components of the NCCER curriculum that fits perfectly. But that's an 8 to 10 week program. If we do something that's 4 to 5 weeks that the employers have bought into and said, if you train them, that's what we're looking for, and we'll either employ them, or we will help move them on to an apprenticeship program or to a more skilled training program. At this juncture, from the research we've done, it appears we're going to need to bid something. Now, year 2 and 3, I don't know what we will end up doing. If it's all here, then no, we'll go back to a tuition and fee basis.
So, I don't want to take all the time, so go ahead.
Go ahead with your next question, then I'll, sure, you're good. And you're asking all the same questions.
Go ahead.
For the folks who go through the Goodwill program today, how long do they stay in a job before it turns over? Do you know what the turnover rate?
We track it for 90 days, and it's a pretty high percent for the construction program. Those folks are getting jobs at or before the end of the 6-week program, and what we have today is an open door rolling every week, so it's modularized, so that people can come in on week 1 or come in on week 3 and still get the full 6-week program.
And in the construction, what kind of job are they taking?
General labor is really what we're doing. We serve people who are unemployed and have some barrier to employment. Could be the criminal background, lots of those folks.
Yeah.
May have a disability, may not have a high school diploma, whatever. So we're working with the very entry-level type folks, so they're getting the very entry-level type job. And we did just this. We did focus groups with the construction folks back when we set up this program to find out what they wanted so that we could tailor it.
Yeah.
Over the last 4 years, we've kind of tailored to what our population also needed,
Yeah.
but we're meeting the needs of the construction folks for general labor.
And how long has the program been out there for you?
It's been over 3 years. We hired a gentleman out of a high school doing the construction training there. It's been very productive for us.
Have you done any survey of at 6 months, 9 months, and a year, how many are still on the job?
No, because a lot of folks aren't available to be reached at that point, so we go to 90 days, and that's our success measure at Goodwill.
Okay.
And our organization's success measure for most of the programs we operate are beginning at 3rd quarter after they leave a program, but it's generated by UI wage records. So we can't attach a person to it per se. We just know of all the people we've exited. Right now, we're running about 86% of the adults and about 83% of the, it's the other way around, 83% of the adult and 86% of the dislocated federal money.
What we're talking about doing is, you're not going to provide the training, you're going to contract
the training.
someone who does that.
Who already has the facilities, the
And so what
existing.
we're really doing is just, is increasing the capacity and the number of programs that are available out there.
Correct.
So we're not competing with Goodwill, we're trying to supplement what's being done.
I think we need to look at what we're doing and use what we're doing, but we're taking them to general labor. This program is pre-apprentice. Where does pre-apprentice fit with general labor? Are they the same thing? I'm not sure. Are they different? Is there one more step up to get to apprenticeship?
Yeah.
So we need to figure out that missing piece if there is one.
That's why I asked about the retention rate, because if I were the employer, as I know several contractors, before I want somebody into an apprentice program, I know they're going to stick around a little bit.
Yep.
And so if I got a turnover rate that's as high as 50, 60% at month 6 or 8, I probably wouldn't want
But
to
if we can
invest in that.
demonstrate that career ladder for the candidates that we train, then they're more likely likely to stick around, to know that if I get through this, do some general labor, then I'm available or ready to go in the apprenticeship program.
So what's the top 2 categories of apprenticeship that construction needs?
The ones we hear from the most are electrical workers, are one of the highest demands, and it's one of the more stringent ones to get into as far as math skill level. We work a lot with the plumbers and pipe fitters as well in the skill trade. And then you have the industry side, that ABC, that runs both, they'll do electrical, they'll do plumbing, they'll do other components as they run it.
I've got 1 second, I'll take a minute. So 160 people, and 129,000 people in poverty.
The beauty of this program, if I understand where you're going, the beauty of this is this will allow us to adapt to any particular industry sector, be it hospitality, anything else where we're trying to get large numbers. The same model works with no additional cost put into the model. Training programs would be the only additional cost that we would have to put in. I said we're doing a lot of this now. We have 5 sectors, so we're focusing on IT, and we're focusing on healthcare, and we're focusing on design and construction. And this is to focus specifically in Davidson County on construction. But with that, it can also be focused on any other industry that has a high demand.
Does this disadvantage the women who are employed here if it's construction versus hospitality?
We'd welcome them.
No, I said, does it disadvantage women in any way on a construction site? I'm just asking.
Statistically, it would be a non-traditional employment for women.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what percent of the graduates who go into construction are women?
I do not know that.
I'm going to tell you, our experience is 10% or less are women coming through our training program.
10% or less? Okay. And do we know how many women are in this unemployed, 129,000?
I guess I'm disproportionately high.
Yes.
Or more than half.
More than half is my guess. Okay.
But remember, the construction component was also part of Amendment 3.
Understand.
All right, we're done. Thank you.